What's good, Sinz Nation? It's your boy Sinz here, back with episode 3 of Talking with Sinz. And drum roll, please. Got my boy, special guest, Trill Will in the building.
You're got to be back, bro.
So, you know, it's Talking with Sinz, where we talk about trending topics, personal development, and all that good stuff. So today, what we talking about today, man?
I think today's gonna be one of the heavier ones. I think we're talking on mental health as a whole.
Yeah, so mental health as a whole, and basically you could say how we deal with it personally, in a sense, and growing up with it. And, you know, as a black kid, black parents don't really believe in mental health like that. Some do. I'm not saying all, but some be like, oh, what do you mean you're this? What do you mean you're depressed? What do you mean you have this and that? Go to sleep. Get out of my face with that. Yeah. And that's very prevalent in the black community. They don't really take mental health serious. And my personal experience with mental health wasn't even my mental health. It was my mother's. So it's a very personal thing, but the more I talk about it, the more I cope with it, in a sense. And my junior year was very, very hard for me. And not a lot of people know. So my junior year, it was the first year where I moved out of my childhood home. So I left my childhood home in Florida, in Orlando. I still moved to Orlando, but, you know, childhood home was there for, 14 years. And I moved, and one day it was a week after my 16th birthday. And my mom had a panic attack. And I've never dealt with it before. I didn't know how to deal, so it was just a normal panic attack. I was like, okay, cool, I dealt with it. But then they were more prevalent, and they were more odd types of panic attacks, you know, call 911, get her the help she needs. And it turns out she had chronic bipolar disease. And that was the first time that I knew someone in my family that had, you could say, a mental illness. And I didn't know how to deal with it. And it was a determining factor in how me and my mother's relationship is now. So she got diagnosed with chronic bipolar disease. And the half of junior year was tough, man. From October to like February, there would be days where I'd be at school and the only thing in the back of my head is my mom okay at home? Because she would like wild out. Yeah, I remember. Like it was really bad. Like it was to the point where the same police officers would come and they'll be like, hey, Brandon, how you doing today? Like it was really bad. There was a point, I've never told anyone this, that even like CPS came to UHS. And like they called me in an office. They're like, hey, Brandon, like, are you okay at home? Like, is everything good? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, it's about to be my senior year. Like, I'm staying where I'm at. Yeah. And I credit my grandmother on my dad's side because she was there through the whole thing, and that strengthened our relationship. And she made sure that I was okay. And I had to learn how to survive, in a sense. I learned how to cook even better. Went grocery shopping, knew how to finance, how to pay bills, because it was really just me. And then my mom she's one of those people who just like, oh, I'm not going to take pills. I don't want to get hooked on pills. I don't want to take medication. Yeah. Which is understandable. I understand it. But it was at a point of time, like, you know, it's going to help you. You're going to need that help.
Sometimes you just need it. Yeah.
And so things got better towards the second half. But I mean, you've witnessed it. You've heard on a phone call when she's spazzed on me. Yeah. And stuff like that. So it was fine. And then senior year came and it was good. Like she didn't have any moments, but there was one moment, and I think that is what started the way how I got into moods. Something like why I get into moods sometimes. And she had an episode and it was over yogurt. That's the irony of it. The comedy of it. It was over yogurt. Yeah. And I went to sleep. I took a nap. I took a lot of naps. This was my freshman year in college. I was freshly graduated, had my car. You know, I was doing good. Bought my own car. I was doing good. I felt good for myself. And I woke up. My mom was like, hey, Brandon, can you go to the store and get me some yogurt? And I'm like, yeah, fine. That's cool. Publix was honestly 5 minutes away.
Yeah, it was right there.
It was right there. But I woke up. I'm groggy. You know, when you wake up from a nap, you're just like, oh, let me bring myself together. So I was like, yeah, sure. I'm going, give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes tops. I'm going to go get you your yogurt. And then she was like, okay, why can't you get it now? And I told her, and she was like, all right. And I kid you not, less than a minute goes by. Brandon, are you going to give me my yogurt? And like, that tone. And I was like, yeah, but I just told you I'm going to get it in like 5 minutes. So it's like, I said it in the nicest way possible. If it's really dire need, like, you can just either take my car or take your car to get it. Like, I'll get it for you, but just give me time. Yeah. I just woke up. And boom, slams the door. Goes. I'm like, here we go. I knew it. I knew it from the jump. I said, here we go. So then, she's blowing up my phone. Like, she gets back, slams the door again, she got her yogurt, goes in her room. And this is when she stopped yelling at me in person, and she would yell at me through text.
Oh, yeah.
So she's going off, text me, this and that, Hints, over yogurt. And she's like, I can't ask you to do shit. You're so ungrateful. This and that, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, whatever. You're having a mood. And this is what struck me. Hearing this, I'm 18, but you're still a freshly graduated, still a child, still
for sure.
Now in the world. And that's when she hit me with the most infamous text. I'll never forget it. She was like, I should have had an abortion.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that text and all the moments that went through my head. So like me, I'm not a man that really gets emotional. Yeah. But when you see that, you feel it. It strikes you. It's striking to you. And first thing I did was I took a screenshot and I sent it to these people. I sent it to my grandmother and I sent it to my group chat. Shout out to the boys. And they were like, dang, like, you good? Because that's not so. Yeah. And then my girlfriend at the time, and this was like a nerve too, I call her, I'm talking to her, and I tell her, and the first thing she said was like, Brandon, I don't care.
Yeah.
And that hit me too. But then she came back like a few minutes later, like, because I sent her a screenshot. She was like, oh, Brandon, like, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't mean to say that, this and that. Cool, I accepted the apology, but still at that time, it's so sensitive. It's a time sensitive thing.
Exactly.
So I left. I left the house and I went to my boy Jakari's house. Shout out to him. And I was at Kari's house for like 2 weeks. I didn't stay there. Like, I'd still go home and shower and stuff because Kari lived right there. But I didn't see my mother face to face for 2 weeks. It was a very hard thing. And that's what would put me in the moods of maybe I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not doing things right. Maybe it is my fault. Maybe the way how the course of time went, maybe it was because of me. All the decisions that I've made, all my fault. The way life doesn't go my way, all my fault.
Yeah.
And there would be times, I still get these moods today where I'll just wake up and I'll just lay in bed. Have no motivation to do anything. Don't want to talk to anybody. Be kind of like snarky. And I don't like to say it's depression because I haven't been, I haven't gone to therapy. I haven't gone to a quote unquote doctor and been diagnosed with it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to take it away from those people who have been diagnosed with depression and they have to take depression medication. I don't want to take that from them because I don't feel like that's fair to them.
Yeah, that's understandable.
And it's something I deal with on a daily basis. And it takes a while for me to express myself.
Yeah.
Because I never was able to express myself to my mother. It was very hard for me to talk to my mother growing up. It was a hard thing. And growing up, when you're raised like that, it sticks with you. You can't just wake up one day and I'm going to express myself to everyone. To me, it's impossible. So that's just a little bit of the mental health that I deal with. Do you have any moments in mind that you are willing to share?
Moments? I think maybe we can start from the beginning. I think mine, I say it started sophomore year, but I really think, like, when I start thinking about it, mine is my own personal mental health issues. And I think it started just from being younger, I think, because I've always been like as people see me now, I'm the people that don't know me like that, I'm quiet and I don't have a lot of friends. I keep like this small circle and I don't open up or speak much to a lot of people. But I think that just comes from, that's kind of started when I was a kid, and because my dad's the same way. So me and my dad are similar. But it started because I was always like in the background, I guess. I was like out of my whole family. Like I was always the person that was like struggling, trying to find attention, I think. So I think as a kid, I always used to try to do like be extra and do the most, or like find some way to do something to like get some type of attention, but I never got it. So I think it kind of started the way feeling like not good enough and stuff like that. I think started way back then. But then I don't think it really kicked in, and I felt it and felt everything until like, I want to say sophomore year when my parents split up. I think that's when a real like depression started, I guess. Cause I was 15 when they started going through the divorce and like going through breaking up and like thinking everything was my fault in a way, because a lot of people don't know this. I think I've only told like 2 people, but I was the one that kind of found out my dad was doing the things he was doing. Like, I mean, cheating on my mom. What am I sure? I'm not sugarcoating. I don't care. But like cheating on my mom and stuff like that. And I told my mom. So I think, and then when I did that, I was like, dang. I started seeing everything unfold, and I started hearing the arguments and seeing the fighting, and like, and I thought it was my fault. I'm like, dang, I just messed up. If I would have just stood quiet, and that's what happened. Mm-hmm. So that led to it too. And then I felt like I didn't have anybody to talk to. I felt like it just felt like everybody felt. I don't like pity. I guess that makes sense. And I think that's what everybody showed me. And instead of like, I felt like I just needed a friend to talk to and just be there and be cool with. But everybody was like hassling me about it. Like, this, which is not a bad thing. I guess they cared in a sense, but at the same time, it's like, I'm the type of person that when I'm ready to come out and start speaking my mind and I need someone to talk to, then I'll do it. I don't like to be forced to do so.
Yeah, I remember sophomore year, because like I remember there was that point in time where you were like very quiet. And I didn't really push the issue. I remember Jones even pulled you aside. I was like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I remember you eventually did tell me. I don't remember exactly when. I know it was sophomore year.
No, it wasn't. I remember. It was a whole year later.
Was it junior year?
I didn't tell anybody what was wrong, what was happening until a year. Because I remember we were in Jones' class junior year, skipping. And I said something. I think, I told you I was going to my dad's house. And you were like, what are you talking about? And I was like, oh yeah, my parents split up like last year.
Wow.
And I never told anybody for like a whole year. Only people that like at the time you didn't like, I never had like you come through to my house and stuff like that, like how we used to. So you wouldn't have known. But like I think like only people that came to my house frequently, or like the friends that I at the time allowed to my crib, they would they knew. But everybody else didn't know. So everybody at school and stuff like that, nobody knew. But I guess I tried to hide it, and I did it to a degree, but I guess the people that really knew me in school like could tell that like I was off and everything was off. So it wasn't that hard to see, I guess, at the end of the day.
Yeah. I would also say, like, for me, a thing that struck me, and this is more on like mental health and just relationship wise with parents. Another thing, like with me and my mother's relationship is, so my grandmother on her side passed when I was in 4th grade, my grandma Patsy. And I love my grandma Patsy to death from the moments I can remember with her. And I remember the day she passed. Like I remember the exact day, but I remember like I woke up, my mom was outside on in the patio, and she's like, hey, let me talk to you, this and that. And she's like, hey, your grandma Patsy just died, and me, a kid, broke down, this and that.
Yeah.
And I remember this thing that my mom said to me about my grandmother. And at that point in time, I'm young, you don't know how to react. And I just think, like, why would you say this to your kid about his grandmother? She was like, your grandmother's not going to heaven, right? And I was like, ugh.
Yes, yeah.
And I was in my head, like, now I think of it, like, why would you say that to me? Because their relationship wasn't good. Mm-hmm. Understandable. My relationship with my grandmother, I enjoy on my mom's side of the family, And then she would try to instill these try to brainwash me.
Yeah.
Like, they're not good up there, this and that, they do this and that. And it's like, look, cool, you can have your thoughts towards them, but don't put them on me because they haven't done me wrong.
Yeah.
You know? And then she would take that as, oh, I'm your mother, you need to be on my side. And that's what kind of makes me the person I am now of, I'm going to agree with what's best in my mind. I'm not going to take sides, you know?
Yeah.
I hate when parents are like, oh, they'll be in the wrong and be like, well, you need to choose my side because I'm your parent.
Yeah, I hate that.
I'm not trying to be rude. Like, I didn't choose you to have me.
Yeah.
You know? But I didn't choose that. I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for both my parents. Even though me and my mom's relationship is rocky, I'm still grateful for her because there is the good and there is the bad. You know? And before, the good did outweigh the bad. But there's just things you say to someone that you shouldn't say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. I agree with that. Stuff like that, you just, especially being that young, stuff like that.
Exactly.
So that's something you would want to say.
So that was that, and just it was more of like, as a kid, I never had people over.
Yeah, same.
I was never allowed to have people over. So now, me grown, I still feel weird when I have people over. You know, like, not as much as I used to, because, like, you know, people come over all the time now. But before, like, even, like, when I'd invite you over, I was still like, you know, like, this is my place.
Yeah, I feel that.
You know?
Yeah, I feel that, too. I didn't like that either. Because I think, like I said, I think I take after my dad. Well, there's nothing wrong with it. Me and my dad are really close. Like a friendship type of relationship, too. But, yeah, my dad never had people over, or, like, he was very, like, private. And I do this. I don't know if I'm private. I just don't like speaking to that many people. And it's not that I don't like people. I think it just comes from, like, I get overwhelmed speaking to people sometimes in big groups. And I also just don't like, I don't know. There's some type of, like, sacredness about, like, your house or your room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if I let you, like, come chill in my crib and, like, in my room, and, like, you meet my mom and sister and everybody's chilling, like that's something, like, I don't let everybody in. Like, that's my area. This is, like, my escape from everything, and I let somebody into that. So I think that's why for a long time I didn't let anybody come over like that either, or I just avoided it. They would ask, and, like, no. And then I still get overwhelmed because, like, before, like, COVID and all that stuff, like my house was, like, the meeting spot. So everybody was like, oh, we'll meet at your crib, and then we'll ride out, we'll slide where we're gonna go. And even then I would be like I don't want to say I don't like it, but that's kind of, like, the only word. Yeah. It's like I like having people over, and I like interacting with the people that mean the most to me and having them around.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, that too, I feel that. That's why I don't like having that many people over.
Now it's more of, I enjoy people over because it gives me the sense of what I didn't really have as a kid. You know, there's been moments where, like, people came over, like, when my mom was in a good mood, she'd have a barbecue, people come over to eat, but that was very rare.
Yeah.
It was more of me always going over to someone else's house. It'd always be like, oh, Brandon, can you come inside? And my mom would be at work, and I'd be like, nah.
Yeah.
You know? And then when I did bring people inside when she was at work, something always went wrong. Like, I had a friend, he was like, oh, look, like, I'm Spider-Man type thing, and he put a hole in my wall. And I remember this day because my mom was furious. And she beat my ass.
Yeah.
Like, when you're supposed to have people over, this and that, da-da-da. And she beat my ass. Was the wall an easy fix? Yes.
Yeah.
But, so then it was just that point, it's like, nah, bro, like, I'm not, no one's coming over, like, you know, this and that.
Yeah. I think I was the opposite, because I think I have a big family, and even though I don't interact with them now as much as I used to, or, like, I don't put myself out there with them and, like, get along with them, I guess, completely, I always had them around. And like I said before, like, I always felt like I was, like, I needed to compete for some type of attention or some type from everybody else, because it seemed like all my cousins, whatever they did was, like, the greatest. And, like, it was just held to this super high standard. And then it was just me, like I don't know. I'm here, like, I'm trying to interact, like, I'm trying to say this and that, but it just wasn't listening. It was like I was only there to get, like, picked on, laughed at, and, like, me and my cousins would play fight, and then it turns into real fighting. Like I'm like getting bullied type stuff. So I think I always had that as a kid. Is a whole bunch of people around me at one time. So I think that's what makes it where I'm like, when I'm home, I'm like,
my space.
This is my space, and like
your solitude.
Yeah. Which at the same time, nowadays, it's good and bad having my own space in my own room to myself,
because it gives you thoughts.
Yeah, and then those thoughts bring like anxiety, and like that's another topic. I don't know if you've dealt with like anxieties and like things like that.
So before, I used to put in my head like I don't have anxiety, this and that, but I have a different type of anxiety.
Yeah. Because everybody has it.
I don't.
Mild, or it's like
I don't have anxiety like crowds of people, this and that.
Yeah.
I give myself anxiety when I think about finances.
Yeah.
And like I think of a bill or something, and I'll lay down. I'll think of the finance. I'll think of, well, what if this is going wrong? This goes wrong. I need this. I need that. I need this. And I have that type of anxiety when it comes to finances. But the thing with me is I don't show it. I really don't show if I'm going through something. I really don't show if I'm distressed, if I'm disturbed.
Yeah.
I don't even show if I'm angry like that anymore. I've learned how to calm that down. And this is, so I'll have thoughts, right? I'll be going to sleep, napping. For some reason, this thought will come in my head maybe once in a blue moon, like, if I was gone, how would people react?
I think about that frequently. I don't know if it's good or bad, but I think about that a lot too.
I'm like, if I was gone, how would people react? Like, if someone came home one day and I was just gone, like they come in the room unresponsive, how would the world react?
Yeah,
in a sense, which is terrible. They're not fun thoughts to have.
No, not at all.
You know, but it puts me to sleep. I don't know how, but it puts me to sleep. It puts me through the motion, I guess. I knock out because I don't want the thoughts in my head.
Yeah.
So I knock out. But those are not good thoughts to have.
Yeah.
You know? And just that on top of, waking up and being in the mood, it really sucks.
Yeah.
But I do credit me still being who I am and being happy to like you and the boys. I mean, just from the start of everything, from me and my mom's issues, from the start to even when she kicked me out at a point in time.
Yeah.
So now y'all helped me get through it in a sense. I never felt as if I was alone, even with my whole past relationship situation,
Yeah.
But that was a very low time in my life. Y'all helped me through it, which sucks because y'all helped me through it at the end. Because the boys like Emeka, Steven, Cam, and all them, they didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
The only one that really knew what was going on was like you and Patrick.
Yeah.
But I didn't tell anyone. I didn't express myself in a sense. I still kept that to myself. But with just mental health, I feel like everyone has it. Everyone, in a sense, everyone has something they're going through that they don't talk about. No one is perfect. No one wakes up and is just happy all day long. I mean, may he rest in peace. Look at Robin Williams. You know, he gave happiness to others, but he wasn't happy himself.
Yeah. And
just talking about it now on the podcast, even from the first episode from Be Yourself, it was a realization within me, like, I like this already. I love this already. It's what's the word I'm looking for?
Therapeutic?
Yes, it's therapeutic.
Yeah.
Because it's like a conversation. It's like me having a conversation with everyone I'm cool with without looking at them.
Yeah.
Without feeling the pressure and the gaze of people looking at me.
Yeah. I feel the same way because if this is any other scenario, if there's anybody else in here,
no, not at all.
You wouldn't hear a word from me. I'd be the quietest person in the room, like I always am.
I would just be making jokes,
Yeah.
I'd be change the topic completely. But it's just when people listen to this, they're not gonna be like, dang, Brandon. V. Brandon was dealing with that. Like, it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, and the ways I cope with it is music. I used to make music in a sense. I used to, petty raps here and there.
Yeah.
But listening to music, meditation's good. And just really just talking to people. I never want anyone to feel as no one's there, because even if I'm not close to you like that, and I said this with past previous deaths of celebrities and stuff, and just people who aren't celebrities, even if we're not cool, I'm still there. You could just, hey Brandon, can I talk to you? Yeah, cool. What's up? And I'll just listen. Vent to your heart's content, and I would just be there as a person to listen. That's for everybody. Yeah. Even if you think I hate you, shoot me a DM. Can I call you? If I'm not busy, sure. If not, send me a long paragraph.
Yeah.
And I'm there, but
yeah, that's my thing too. I'm the same exact way. I'm like, everybody. I can't say it for everybody. I can't say that. Sometimes I'm like that. It depends on my mood. But I think for the people that are close to me, and they already they know who they are, the people that are close to me, then I don't have an issue with that. Especially certain people, because as of now, this year, recently, because I've been dealing with this stuff for years now, obviously, but now this year recently, I've been able to lean on certain people or send certain people messages or call somebody bro, I'm having a panic attack. I'm freaking out. I don't know what's going on. I can't sleep. Or I'm on the floor, in my closet or something crazy, because I'm just losing my head. I don't know what to do. And I'm scared. And or even in front of a group of people, even I'm trying to think of a certain scenario. I don't even know. I could be with a group of people and you still feel that alone feeling, and I start getting anxious, and nobody can see it, but there's been plenty of times I've been even you've been in my presence when it's happened. You can't, that's why you can't really gauge anxiety and depression and stuff like that, because it's an internal struggle. It's not always an outward struggle. So sometimes I'll be in a group of people, and we'll be in the car or something, and wherever I'm sitting, when I just stop talking for a long period of time, I'll be oh no, I just I dazed off, but I'll be in my head panicking, freaking out, or stuff like that. And so now I think I have people that I can lean on and go to cope with. I think I'm still getting better at doing so and telling people, because still sometimes the past week I've been out of it and doing nothing, and having long nights of me and my thoughts and stuff like that, and being I'm gonna tell that I know I have this person to go talk to, and I know she's gonna listen to me if I talk to, but I'm you get that thought in your head where you're no, I can't bother this person, because I know they're in a good spot, so I can't throw my problems to that person, because I don't want to bring that person down. Yeah. And then you're going back and forth in your head oh dang, should I do it? Should I not do it? And then you get to that point. Yeah. But then I think too, it's I'm kind of rambling, but it's you gotta get to the point where you can have at least certain people to speak to, if that makes sense in a way. Yeah. Because I think I'm getting there.
It's a slow process, slow build.
Yeah, that's for anything. That's what I was saying in the first episode. Nothing is is a short process.
Yeah, you can't just wake up one day and I'm fixed. Not really fixed, but I'm better. I'm happiest person in the world. It just doesn't happen.
Exactly.
And my, guess you could say, closing advice, in a sense, is don't ever feel as you're not enough. Don't ever feel as you're alone, because there's that person there that will always have you on your mind, and you may not even know it. And as a tote to episode 1, just be yourself. Sinz out.